Ahead tonight, the Prime Minister's historic meeting at the Vatican.
Students sound off on crime.
And another episode disrupts classes at Stephen Dillett. The National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Everyday.
Prime Minister Perry Christie makes history today as the first Bahamian Prime Minister to have an audience with the Pope at the Vatican. Good evening, everyone. I'm Keishla Adderley.
And I'm Andrew Knowles. Thanks for joining us.
The Pope and the Prime Minister spoke privately for about 20 minutes before being joined by members of the Prime Minister's delegation, which included his wife, Bernadette Christie, Ministers Fred Mitchell and Ryan Pinder, and Senior Policy Advisor Sir Walter Bethel.
Clint Watson reports tonight on the meeting between the two leaders and reaction from the Archbishop of the local Catholic Church in this exclusive interview with ZNS News.
It may only have been a mere 20 minutes, but the impact undoubtedly will last a lifetime. Prime Minister Perry Christie's historic meeting with Pope Francis at the Vatican today paid tribute to the Roman Catholic Church in the Bahamas and gratitude for the thousands of Catholics contributing to the development of our country. Archbishop of the Catholic Church in the Bahamas, His Grace Reverend Patrick Pinder, says while they've achieved much in the religious arena, he signals education as the most significant contribution to the country's social development.
I like to say our largest footprint has been in the area of education, but we've been involved for well over a century now. And of course, our commitment there remains firm.
Mr. Christie recommitted himself to helping the poor and the underprivileged. He spoke about the government's work in serving the poor in the Urban Renewal Program. While talking about his son Adam, he mentioned the assistance his administration is giving to children with special needs. Archbishop Pinder was humbled to hear the commendation he received by Prime Minister Christie during his meeting with the Pope.
Well, it's a wonderful support, but as you know, I'm in constant contact with the Holy Father's personal representative, so he knows very, very well and firsthand what I'm doing here. And as you know, I have to give an account of my stewardship on a regular basis to the Holy Father through the Holy See. But I certainly appreciate a positive word in that regard. Thank you.
Later, the Prime Minister, the ministers, and the Senior Policy Advisor met with the Secretary of State, Archbishop Pt.1, and exchanged views on world affairs. This was the first meeting of the Secretary of State in his new post. The Prime Minister agreed that he would advance a name shortly of a Bahamian to serve as non-resident ambassador to the Vatican in an effort to deepen relations on a number of issues, including education and migrant issues.
It would, of course, as you say, increase the relations and the contacts. And that would be a good thing. I recall in 2004, when I received the pallium as the first Bahamian Archbishop, there was an official delegation from the Bahamas government there at the Vatican at that time. It did not include the Prime Minister, but it certainly included a cabinet minister, and I believe one or two other individuals from the Bahamian High Commission in London. So I think it would be a good thing to increase that.
Archbishop Pinder will get his chance to meet with Pope Francis next year, a visit he is looking forward to.
Well, there's always a sense of excitement, but of course it's a time when I according to the Code of Canon Law, have to give an account for my stewardship. So it's always interesting. He could always ask me a question that might surprise me. But it's wonderful.
The Bahamas is said to have good Vatican relations, those relations dating back as far as 1979, when Pope John Paul II made a visit to the Bahamas. It was his first to an English-speaking country. Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
National security officials are continuing their thrust to engage the public on crime-fighting solutions. Today, they rounded up students from schools across New Providence, hoping that they have some of the answers. Director of Special Projects in the Ministry of National Security, Carlos Reed, says it just makes sense socially and economically for crime prevention stakeholders to stay one step ahead.
It costs us over $15,000 for everyone we send to jail. We believe that investment could be better spent if we prevent persons from going to jail. Not only that, the recidivist rate at the magistrate prison don't support us sending them to jail because 8 out of every 10 end up going back. We want to prevent those 8 from going there in the first place.
Now, students were encouraged to ask questions and make suggestions. Here are some of their thoughts.
Personally, I think that sentencing should be more rapidly. For instance, if a person committed a crime, they should be sentenced right away, especially if you have more than one witness. And secondly, I believe that we should stop putting criminals on bail so that they cannot commit crime again.
We must realize that this is a spiritual attack by the enemy against our young people. And we must also realize that there is absolutely no safety without God. So what I think we should do is form a partnership between our parents, the pastors in our communities, our spiritual leaders, our administrators, and even the students, and bring more prayer into our schools to invoke the presence of God.
I would suggest that after students will come out of high school, that you would have more job opportunities in their area of gifting, such as auto mechanics, carpentry, business, finance, different areas, cosmetology, not only for academic students, but for more hands-on students who don't learn that certain way.
Following the Students Only Crime Forum, National Security Minister Dr. Brennan Nottage updated the press on the effect of his ministry's school policing program. You might recall the program was discontinued by the previous government, but later reinstated as was promised in the PLP's Project Safe Bahamas anti-crime program. Dr. Nottage reaffirmed the Christie administration's belief that having a police presence in high schools was not only a benefit to schools, but also to the local communities.
What we are seeking to do is to provide for the safety and security of our students. I read a report today of my CR worker about school policing, and you wouldn't believe the quality of the report that's been produced, not by the policemen, but by the principal and the administrators, indicating what a difference school policing has made during the past year. I have no doubt that whatever reduction there is in criminal activity within the schools has a direct correlation with the presence of sensible, educated policemen who have been able to advise administrators and security personnel in the schools and who have developed a relationship with students so that their authority is not questioned. So yes, we had evidence that criminal activity in schools was increasing, as you all know. When was the last time you heard about a serious crime in the schools? So it speaks for itself. What we want to do, one of the students talked today about what has happened in the school, but has hinted to us that there are still some activities when people leave school, they leave the school environment. And that's why the saturation patrols and all those other things are supportive and so important.
And with the contract for electronic monitoring program due to end very soon, Minister Nottage also outlined what his ministry intends to do and what comes next for the company that currently holds the contract, ICS Security Concepts. ICS and the Ministry of National Security have had a strained relationship over a number of monitoring lapses recently.
We've decided that we're going to issue a new request for proposals. That is almost completed, and so that's likely to be distributed before the end of the month, and we're giving companies that are interested in providing the service to us the opportunity to bid on it. With respect to continuing in the service, it is our intention that we have put to ICS that they continue providing the service for the period of time it takes for us to get a response to the request for proposal. ICS is not excluded from making a proposal. If they wish, and the impression I've gotten is that they probably would wish to do so.
A bailiff had to take to the streets today to find jurors to hear evidence in a murder trial. Philip McCartney is accused of killing 30-year-old Krishanda Swain back in 2010. Now, a jury was expected to be impaneled during this morning's session, but the pool was eventually depleted due to challenges from both sides. As a result, the bailiff had to summon jurors off the street and off their jobs, and the jury was impaneled later in the day. The case continues on Monday of next week before Senior Justice John Isaacs. This is the second time McCartney is being tried for the crime. Jurors began hearing evidence today in the unlawful sex trial of 77-year-old Garnet Dorset. Dorset is accused of having unlawful sex with a 13-year-old female between August 1st and 31st of 2010, an allegation he has denied. During today's proceedings, the court heard from the now 17-year-old victim, both of her parents, and the doctor who examined the girl. The trial continues before Justice Roy Jones. CNN is confirming that the man who died in Long Island yesterday after trying to set a free-diving record is 32-year-old Nicholas Mavoli of Brooklyn, New York. Reports indicate that Mavoli was attempting to reach 236 feet with one breath of oxygen and without the assistance of fins. When Mavoli surfaced, he flashed the OK sign and then lost consciousness about 30 seconds later. The Royal Bahamas Police Force has confirmed that the incident took place around 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon and noted that an investigation is ongoing. The 10-day diving competition in Long Island assembled 56 divers from 21 countries who took part in a variety of events.
Classes at the Stephen Dillett Primary School were briefly interrupted today after smoke was seen emanating from the building at the Wolf Road campus. Students and teachers vacated the building while officials from the Ministry of Education and the Department of Public Works conducted an initial assessment to determine the cause. ZNS News has learned that based on the assessment, the smoke may have stemmed from a shortage in an electrical wire that was connected to the light switch inside the building. Now, what we can also tell you is that the issue was rectified and students and teachers were allowed to return to the classroom.
It's been several weeks now since dozens of teachers at a number of schools throughout the capital left their classrooms for union meetings off campus.
And today, Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson says some of those teachers remain on work to rule, alleging that a small group of executive union members were denied access onto many school campuses for meetings and permission to put up notices. Wilson says a large group of coaches from a number of schools have also joined in solidarity with the Bahamas Union of Teachers.
To rule, we believe, is very effective. It's been going on now. This is our third week on work to rule. So teachers are going to work on time and they are leaving at 3:15. And you would also note that since last week, Monday, so a week now today, the GSSA, which is the sporting body for high schools, and the primary Schools Association, they've decided to stand in solidarity with the teachers and the union. And first and foremost, I must say that the coaches are teachers first, and they are union members. So basketball was supposed to begin today. It's been suspended until further notice. We're having a general membership meeting tomorrow, and so after that general membership meeting tomorrow, we'll have a meeting with the GSSA and the Primary School Association coaches, and we'll map the way forward from there.
Our first look at weather, 12 days remaining in the tropical cyclone season, and once again a quiet evening. But outside of our studios, pretty nice weather, near clear skies, temperature 77 degrees, your relative humidity 65%, winds are out of the northeast at 3 knots, your barometric pressure 1,014.0 millibars, that's 29.94 inches, and it is steady. But stay tuned, temperatures around the Family Violence, travel and boating forecast is still to come.
Well, still to come tonight, replenishing Earth Village. More tonight on the plans to transform 180 acres of forest.
And friends of the Philippines and the Bahamas come to their aid. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Lux Men's Warehouse.